Hello and welcome to Two Crones and a Microphone. I'm Linda,
I am Betty.
and our sister crone Sally is had some technical difficulties, maybe due to weather-related events. So we want to welcome you, and I know she's here in spirit. We want to welcome back Ariel Sarullo. You may recall she's the author of The Wild Rose Alliance. And we did an interview with her earlier this month. We're very excited to have her back for a follow-up interview. Before we delve into this one, Ariel, what would you like to share about the Wild Rose Alliance? I think you have an Instagram account you'd like to make people aware of.
Yeah, sure. The Wild Rose Alliance is a mystery novel that features mainly like younger female characters. I won't get too much into it here, but there's another interview about the book itself.
Hmm.
But yeah, if you're interested in that, you can follow the official Instagram account for the book, which will be linked down below, and also hopefully the link to purchase it on Amazon in various forms will be linked down below, but that's about it about the book.
All right. Thank you. Well, the reason we have you here today is because you, as we started to speak about in the prior interview, you have made some adventurous choices for yourself
Mhm.
in life. And I think that kind of spark of adventure can influence and inspire someone of any age. And
Mhm.
so we wanted to bring you back in order to start to talk about that spirit of adventure, and specifically, though, about the spirit of adventure in relating to your life in Japan and to the fact that you now work for an anime company.
Yeah. Sure, I guess I can explain a little bit about what I'm doing right now. I'm from the US, obviously, my mom's from the US. I currently live in Japan in the Tokyo metro area, and I'm working at an animation company in Japan that specializes mostly on not necessarily only like anime meant for like young girls, young women, but also some also made for like an older crowd as well. So we do a variety of things. But yeah, I guess it was a long, long time coming to get to that point. And yeah, so what do you want me to explain specifically?
Well,
Like,
first of all, I would like it if you could just explain for the older demographic that we have, what
mhm,
exactly is anime?
definitely, I can explain that. Yeah, so I mean, anime is generally considered like Japanese cartoons or cartoons made in Japan. There definitely are cartoons made in like a similar style that outside of Japan, and it's kind of like I guess disputed whether they'd be considered anime or not. But in any case, so usually it's cartoons made in Japan that are usually a specific style of character drawing, etc. But they don't have to be, and they're usually 2D animation. Like, traditionally, they were always hand drawn, like, each frame was hand drawn, but these days there is, like, CGI animation options as well.
Mhm.
So, yeah, some that, like, the average American person might have heard of is, like, Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, Bleach, etcetera. So, like, cartoons from Japan made in that sort of style is generally what's considered anime, I would say.
So there's a movie that's become very popular,
Mhm.
like really popular, and do you know which one I'm talking about where they have a pop group?
Oh, K-pop Demon Hunters?
Yes. Now is that anime?
I wouldn't say so because I think it's like 3D animation. Like in general, like anime is 2D, and I'm not sure if it was made in Japan or not, so I can't say.
No,
I don't think it
I
was.
believe it's Korean. I think it's
Okay,
Korean.
right.
Yeah.
Then I say that wouldn't be considered anime.
Okay. All right. Still trying to figure this out in my old brain, you know? I
Mhm.
mean, When you say cartoons, I go back to, the Roadrunner, you
Right,
know,
right, yeah.
that's
Yeah, yeah.
or Disney.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Disney certainly was a pathway to all of this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know growing up, Ariel, and full disclosure for those of you who may not have heard before, I'm Ariel's mom, so I've known her for a long time. But there was a point when we started watching certain movies, and they were Studio Ghibli movies, Ghibli. And
Mhm.
Studio Ghibli is known throughout the world for its full-length animation films. And one of them in particular, My Neighbor Totoro, Totoro, is much beloved across the world. And so I know that we went through a phase where we were watching all those Studio Ghibli films.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
I wonder if you have any memories of that or anything that ties back or forward to where you are now.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to say, actually, the first movie I watched that could ever be considered anime was actually a Studio Ghibli film, Spirited Away.
Ah, yes.
So that was the first, like, Japanese animation movie I ever watched, and that is the one that actually got me into my love of anime, and then later in life, my love of Japan in general. So, definitely influential in that way.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah.
Was there anything about the characters or the way it flowed or the suspense that occurred in that movie that really drew
Yeah.
you in?
Yeah, I think first of all, just the scenery, like the backgrounds were beautiful. I'd never really seen a cartoon that had so much intricacy in its backgrounds and
Mhm.
character design before. Like I'd mostly
Mm.
seen stuff like SpongeBob or something like simple
Yeah.
made for kids, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And on top of that, like Spirited Away, it dove into like serious topics like that a lot of other cartoons never did because they were made for kids, whereas like Spirited Away and other Ghibli movies are made both for kids and adults and often like deal with like, you know, challenges that everyone faces in their lives and that are often very serious and not just a kids show. So I liked that even as a kid. I was like, "Oh, this is interesting." Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. One of the things that I love about the Studio Ghibli, and thanks for correcting me, um, about their movies is they often deal with themes of humans' integration with nature and other creatures.
Mm, yeah,
And they do it in a way that's really world affirming in a lot of
right, right.
ways. And I wonder, now that you're living in Japan, do you have a cultural perspective on that? Do you think that's something that is kind of embedded in that culture? I'm just curious.
I would say yes, because I mean, Japan, like most societies, you know, is and was an agrarian society, so, like,
Yeah,
people lived off the land and still do.
yeah.
I'd say mostly in, like, more rural Japan, like, a lot of people after they retire become, like, rice farmers or start a garden, you know,
Huh.
and grow their own vegetables and stuff. So, it's definitely, like, if you live in the Japanese countryside, like, nature is all around you, you know, like, people definitely more, live based on the seasons in a way that, let's say, people in the city or suburbs, like I live in the suburbs, that don't as much. But it's definitely an influence there. And like even people in more urban areas, like they still celebrate a lot of holidays related to nature and the change of the seasons as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, I know there are a lot of seasonal festivals that seem
Yeah.
to me to circulate through through the seasons, through an affirmation for different areas like the sea or the rice harvest and things like
Yeah.
that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. Yeah. I think, yeah, like there's holidays like you're right, Sea Day or Marine Day. There's Mountain Day. Then there's like I believe the equinoxes are I don't know if they're not always a day off, but
mm.
sometimes they are.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
so yeah, I think it's like in a similar way how like let's say in America, like we celebrate holidays that were invented hundreds of years ago or
Yeah.
more than that, like with Christmas or whatever, more than that. Um, but like people today don't know we carry through over these traditions just because everyone else is doing it, and, like, I wouldn't say every person of the modern day, knows the intricacies or the meaning behind what we do, like why we have a Christmas tree, et cetera, right? But we
Right,
still
right.
do it. I think in Japan, it's kind of similar, especially among young people. Like, oh yeah, this is Marine Day, this is Mountain Day, whatever. This is this is Coming of Age Day or something, but they don't necessarily know, the
Like,
Yeah.
significance behind
yeah.
everything about it at the
Mhm.
same time. So yeah.
Well, when it comes to anime, that was the spark. And so what carried you forward? Because, you know, our listeners won't know, but I know that you do have very advanced Japanese language skills, and in part because you dedicated quite a bit of time to studying the language. Was anime part of that?
It definitely was, especially like when I was a younger kid, like maybe like through middle school and some of high school, I was really into watching anime. And surprisingly, I don't watch it as much anymore, even though I work for an animation company. But I'm still very interested in Japanese culture and Japan, obviously. And I guess my interest kind of shifted from anime to Japanese culture in general as I got a little older. But in general, I always felt sort of a calling to go back to Japan and continue returning for whatever reason. Like I went there for study abroad and then Japanese language school as well. So I always had mostly good experiences there. And I also just appreciated people's attention to detail there and what everyone says about Japan, but the cleanliness, the convenient transportation, et cetera, et cetera. I
Mhm.
really liked that, and it seemed like a place that I could realistically live pretty comfortably. And I still say that's true. So yeah.
Mhm. I'm just amazed as being how old were you when you moved to Japan?
Um, like moved. I'd say 24.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, that's impressive. I don't know if at age 24 I would have the chutzpah to, pack up everything, move to another country.
Mhm.
And I know you had some language skills, but I mean, it's not like it's easier to learn like Spanish
Right,
and
right.
Japanese. That's a whole totally different
It is
uh,
hard.
alphabet, and yeah, it's
Yeah,
just amazing to me that you were even able to do that. I don't think. Well, I know at age 24, I would not have the ability to do it. Maybe later in life, but yeah, I'm just
yeah.
impressed that you
I
did it. You followed your dream, which is wonderful.
well, thank you. Yeah. I'm not gonna say it was easy, like, it's still pretty difficult dealing with, everything having to do with life in Japan, especially as, someone who wasn't born there isn't, I would say, at a native level of language still. So,
Mhm.
again, like, it's not like it's really smooth sailing and never really was, but that's okay. I guess, honestly, I just almost felt like it was less of me feeling like I was taking a risk, even though I think I still was. It was more of me feeling like I would feel more comfortable in Japan than in America for various reasons. Cost of living, public transportation, etc., were generally better in Japan. So as a young person, I'm like, this feels like more of a comfortable place to, at least for now, live. So it was
Mhm.
also sort of a practical decision, plus also liking the culture. But I would say it was definitely a risk, like, the first job that I worked in Japan was as an English teacher, very far outside of Tokyo, like, in the south of Japan in a smaller city, Takamatsu City. I still love Takamatsu. Um, so it was a risk in the sense that I didn't really know the place I was going specifically. I wasn't sure if I would like the job or if I would like the area. So that was definitely something I gambled on a bit, but it did eventually work out. But I did know at that time, I'm like, I know in general that I like living in Japan, so hopefully it'll be okay.
Mm. Mm. And
Well,
then
clearly it worked out because you're still there, which
yeah.
yeah.
And what sparked your move to the Tokyo area?
Well, I guess that was more I guess in Takamatsu City, it's a really beautiful location, but there isn't much in terms of job opportunities. And I sort of wanted the opposite of that. I wanted access to everything Japan had to offer, like,
Hmm.
whatever type of food I wanted to try, like, I could probably find a restaurant there in Tokyo for it, and yeah, just, like, access to a variety of things you can get in a big city, nightlife, more foreigners who I could, become friends with there. So yeah, I kind of wanted to try the big city but the real main reason I moved to Tokyo was for Japanese language school because I wanted to improve my Japanese. Um the school was in Tokyo, so I decided to move there. And yeah, but the thing is I actually after living in Tokyo for like 2 years, I became kind of tired of the fast pace of the city, of how crowded it was, how, like how little, like, nature there really was in the city, so I
Mm.
decided to move a little farther out of Tokyo to the
Uh-huh.
suburbs now, but, I still have access to Tokyo, so I think it's a good balance right now.
Well, and tell us a little more about your anime. Your anime experience. I think you've been there for about a year and a half now.
Yeah, the company, yeah. Um
What kinds of things do you get involved with? I mean, in what you do. I know you said
Yeah.
sometimes it's more project management than, you know, all wildly creative, but still so interesting, I think.
Yeah, I'd say it's mostly project management in that what I do is not I'm not an I'm not an animator, I'm not an artist, in that sense, like, I'm not drawing the actual characters or anything. I'm doing more of the logistic side of it, like, I email artists and, like, get their information, I fill out spreadsheets, etcetera, so I'm kind of a behind the scenes office lady/production slash production assistant, um and yeah, but at the same time, I do get to see the creative process and see like the various steps that are required to create an anime, even if I'm not the one actually creating it. So I think that is pretty cool.
I think our listeners would love to hear a little bit, just broad brush, about those steps. What's it take?
That's a good question. It's a little hard to explain on the spot, but I guess in general, it starts with like a storyboard. Well, I guess before even a storyboard, there's character designs, right? Like someone designs the characters for a show, and then they also write a script, like a regular movie screenplay, basically,
Okay.
that has like the character's dialogue and also a description of what each character is doing in each frame, and then basically after that, a storyboard artist reads the script and sees the character designs and creates like a frame by frame, drawing of each scene in the anime in order to show a picture of what's going on, right? And so the storyboard is kind of like a script with pictures attached, so almost like an illustrated book, you could
Nice.
say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then after that, an animator looks at the storyboard and basically animates like they see the frame by frame, right? And then they basically I believe they draw the frame by frame themselves, sort of copying what's in the storyboard. And then they connect the frames with like in between frames, which is the animation, I guess. So um that's the general process. Then it goes to like post production for sound effects, lighting effects, etc. Um yeah, and then what I do is basically so we actually have a lot of at our company, we have a lot of international animators who are working remotely. So and that part is in English, so me and a couple of other English speakers are often reaching out to these animators and making sure they're okay and helping upload their work once they're done with it. So that's a lot of what I do right now.
Nice. And then how does it get packaged and sort of presented to the world? I mean, because there are all these steps. And just to interject, I remember one time you told me, no, it's all right. One time you told me that you actually got to sit in on a voiceover
Yeah, 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 yeah.
project
Yeah.
where there was Japanese spoken language, and then I think a English voiceover? Did I get that right, or
Um
was I confusing that?
There was no English voiceover for this. I
Mhm.
think that's I think a separate studio would do that does the dubbing process if
Oh, okay.
they decide to do that. I think,
Okay.
yeah, it was only Japanese, but it was really cool. It's almost 8 straight hours of sitting in a studio and all the production assistants and directors, we have snacks and stuff. And we're on the other side of a recording studio, we're sort of on the other side of the glass. And
Yeah.
then on the other side of the glass are the voice actors who are basically recording the lines of the characters um as and in line with how the animation is, going. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's pretty interesting. Yeah.
Huh. I know that stood out for me. Betty, do you have other questions? Because I was
I do. It's now because this is a Japanese company,
Mhm.
and I know Japanese, I wouldn't say they're a closed society, but they tend to deal more with Japanese artists or Japanese other Japanese people.
Yeah.
So my question is, how did you break through that?
That's a good point, and I think you're right. They definitely do deal with mostly Japanese artists and people, but I think this company, for whatever reason, I'm not sure, was looking to expand into the international market of artists. And so I think that's part of why I got hired is because they were looking for people who were more or less bilingual, who could communicate with these English speaking artists, and then also speak Japanese decently well. So, yeah, I think a lot of the way I got this job was luck because I don't really have an background in animation. I've certainly watched a lot of anime on my own, but I'm not really, besides watching how the process has unfolded at this job, I beforehand I didn't really have much knowledge about how the process worked. So, yeah.
wow, that's really interesting. Well, I know here in the US, there's an entire group. They're called Crunchyroll,
Mhm. Yeah.
CRUNCHYROLL.com. And they package thousands of animes from Japan and
Right,
across the
right.
world, like the Korean and others as well.
Mhm.
And so I know that anime in some groups is amazingly popular. Like people
Oh, yeah.
only watch anime. And
Yeah.
through Crunchyroll, which is a subscription service like a Hulu
Mhm.
or a
Mhm.
Prime, you can watch all the anime to your heart's desire. And so do you think some of the animes you're working on now might end up on Crunchyroll?
It's definitely possible, yeah. I don't wanna give away too much information about
No, no,
what we're
no,
working on
no,
because 'cause I'm
no.
not
You
sure how the
shouldn't.
NDAs work.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
exactly,
That's
right.
but
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
That's
definitely,
okay.
definitely possible, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I love that they're reaching out to the international market because I know there's international interest in
Oh, yeah,
animes in
definitely.
general.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, even I know about it. So, clearly it is definitely getting out there. And so your company is it a small startup company?
I wouldn't say so. It's definitely, I don't know if it's huge, but it's
Uh,
on the larger side, maybe mid-sized. There's definitely, more than one office. I'm not exactly sure how many offices there are.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, but it's not
Interesting.
the most well-known company ever, it's not Studio Ghibli, obviously, but
Yeah.
I think it still has a good reputation, and
Uh-huh.
Mm.
yeah, amongst people who know anime, they have probably heard of my company, so yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And we're not gonna say that name here, but that's okay.
Yeah.
But they've been around for about 30 years, right? Something.
I am not sure.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
Okay.
probably.
I looked them up. They've been around a while, so
Okay,
they're
okay.
Yeah.
they're well regarded, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, in terms of um, skills, I think you're going through a bit of a training program that might even allow you to be a producer in your own right after a little bit of time.
Yeah, potentially, it I kind of like that my company is a bit freeform and that we kind of more or less people set their own hours as long as we get the work done. And also my boss is always interested in, like, what we wanna do in the future and not
Mhm.
necessarily, making us stick to the thing we're doing right now in the company. But, like, I sat down with my boss and he was like, "So what are you thinking of doing in the future at this company?" Like, and I actually said I might be interested in writing scripts potentially,
And there we go.
Yeah.
for anime. But again, since I, am a writer, have written a book, but again, I'm not sure about that because me writing scripts in Japanese would be very different from me writing scripts in English.
Yeah.
Probably be more comfortable with
Mm.
English. So, yeah.
Mm, yeah, there's that. Well, I like that there seems to be chances for growth there and for,
Mhm.
going into different cross-functional areas. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, so in terms of when you go to the office, does an animation office look kind of the same as any business office, or is there something unique about it?
It pretty much looks like any business office, especially in Japan, except there are, like, posters of the anime we've worked on the
Yeah.
walls. That's the
Yeah.
main
Mm.
difference, I'd say.
And you don't have these little characters running around.
No, just regular people, just regular people. The other
Well, we
difference is I'd say there's a lot of tablets, like big drawing tablets, might
oh.
not be in other offices.
Well,
So
we're admitting
oh,
Sally, who's been able to
yeah.
come back on now. Sally, welcome. We're about 25 minutes into our interview, and we've covered a lot of ground, but we're happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Glad to be back. That's
yeah.
a
We
that's a whole nother journey. We won't talk about wasting Ariel's time.
Oh no.
No, you're fine, you're fine.
Yeah. And so we have about 5 minutes left in our podcast. Ariel, is there anything else that you'd like to share as a story or as inspiration for anyone who might be interested in hooking together some interesting things to land in Japan or to work in anime?
Yeah, that's a lot of okay,
That's fine. It's okay.
yeah, I'd say just go for it. Definitely educate yourself about, like, what needs to be done to move to Japan because it is gonna be hard in a lot of ways, especially if you don't know Japanese already, but that's okay. There's a lot of options on how to study Japanese. You can if you are on a budget, you can just buy a textbook for $10 online and start there. It's better than nothing.
Mhm.
There's also things like Japanese language school, private lessons, a whole bunch of ways to do that. And yeah, it's definitely possible. Like, there's a lot of people from other countries living in Japan. It's there. The foreign community is definitely growing in the country as well. And yeah, and if it's still challenging, like 6 months in, if you've already moved there, don't give up because it's not going to be a quick fix. Like, I'm still running into challenges all the time. So yeah. And about getting into the animation industry, I'm not sure because again, I feel like I got this job largely out of luck, out of being the right at the right place at the right time, where they were
Mhm.
looking for someone who was more or
Mm.
less bilingual and like, could deal with foreign animators. But yeah, I mean, you could for that, I would just go to animation school or teach yourself or however that works. I think studios, even if you don't have like an official animation degree or anything, as long as you build up your own skill on your own time, like I think if studios look at your portfolio and think it's really good, then there's still definitely a big chance you could still get hired at a company even with just that. So, yeah.
Excellent. And as far as Japan goes, this is a little bit of a change of topic, but it's featured in a lot of animes. Tell us about the food.
Mhm.
Like how like just Japanese food in general?
Well, how different is it? You came from, America, meat, potatoes, veggies,
Yeah.
maybe. Their diet is really totally different and probably much healthier than what we eat here.
Yeah, it definitely depends because I'd say if you live out in the Japanese countryside, you're probably gonna get, like, a lot of home-cooked food, like, from people's gardens, etcetera, fresh rice, etcetera, fish, fresh fish, so I'd say definitely, like, the rural diet is very different to the urban diet, which
Mhm.
is mostly what I eat, which I would say is actually it's actually harder to find fresh veggies in a prepared meal in Tokyo than it is in America. Like, you can definitely cook your own food, and there's vegetables, you know, v very available at the store, but if you wanna just get, like, pre-made food, it's actually harder to find, um, veggies and fruits, if you can believe it, but, yeah, I think like, the traditional Japanese diet is definitely, pretty different from what we're used to, there's
Yeah.
always rice, there's always miso soup, there's usually fish or maybe meat, and then, like, a side of vegetables. So that traditional sort of meal is definitely very healthy, healthier than the average American food, but nowadays, I think a lot of Western food has come to Japan, like, there's
Yeah.
McDonald's in Japan, etcetera,
Oh,
etcetera.
right, right.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
it's definitely changing, and, like, a lot of people in Japan have adapted Western food to, like, fit their own tastes, like, there's this thing called rice, which is basically a rice omelet, and so it's just like it's just an omelet with, like, fried rice inside of it. So, they've sort of gotten their own take on, more American or Western cuisine as well.
Yeah.
So, is the McDonald's food the same as it is here? Because I know
Great.
when we traveled,
Great question.
the few times that we've had to go to a my husband and I had to go to a McDonald's, it was different depending on the country we were in.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say a lot of it is the same, it still sells burgers and fries, but there's, like,
Mhm.
definitely sides and, like, sauces that are different
Yeah,
to, like,
yeah.
fit the Japanese tastes, like, you can probably find, I don't know, like a give me a second, like a ponzu sauce or something for the salad or for the, fries or something, or like a what is it? I think there was, like, a yuzu, which is like a citrus fruit, like a yuzu mayo or something, so, yeah, it
Mhm.
really is just depends on that's the things that change more with, like, fast American fast food chains in Japan is that, like, the flavorings are slightly different, so, yeah.
Sure.
No
So,
less.
what was the one thing sorry, Sally, but I have to ask this question. What was the one thing that surprised you the most?
Oh, hmm, surprised me the most. Give me a second. There's probably a lot of things, but maybe you can cut this part, I don't know. I'm just thinking. Um, in Japan, I guess what surprised me is that in people's homes okay, this is kind of random, but in people's homes, there isn't central heating. There's, like, basically what they call an air con or air conditioner for each room, and the air con isn't just air conditioning, it's also heat, so you can use it all throughout the year, and basically, like, people tend to hang out in, like, one room for a while because they only have the air con on in one room because they don't wanna pay the money to keep it on, in all of their house. Yeah, that's not the most interesting thing I was
Yeah,
surprised
but
by, but that's
No, but it's
honestly
different.
what I was surprised by, so, yeah.
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah,
instead of whole house central heating or whatever.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know you said it's not the most interesting thing, but it's really practical. Like if you're moving
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and, the price of something like electricity is so much higher, I mean, people have practical workarounds.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Mostly stay in
Yeah.
one room instead of wandering into every room there is in
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
house or the apartment.
Yeah. Well, we're just about at time here. We're so glad you were able to join us and come back for your second interview. This is
Mhm.
absolutely great. Is there anything else that you'd like to say, either about your book or about your life in Japan or anime that
Um, I don't know, I guess life in Japan is definitely different than in America or in other countries, but I think it's definitely worth it if you are willing to, like, basically constantly be challenged by new things and by cultural differences
Mm.
and things that you might not understand right away. Yeah, so expect a fair amount of challenges if you do want to move to Japan, but I
Mm,
think it's definitely possible to build a really nice life in Japan. So yeah.
wonderful. Great. Thanks. Sally, Betty, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
Sally, you had a question before, and I'm sorry I stepped on you.
It's all good. It passed the moment. For viewers who are listening, my computer went down in the middle of the first interview, and it took me a while to get back on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
In case you
Technical.
wondered just in case you wondered what happened to me.
Yeah. We stated technical difficulties, possibly due to weather. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you could come back and join us. Yeah. Well, Ariel, thank you very much. And,
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you came on board here. And once again, we do want to promote your book. Go ahead and give us another sentence on your book
Sure.
before we sign
Sure.
off.
Mhm.
Yeah, I recently published a mystery novel called The Wild Rose Alliance. It's kind of a relaxing, not too gritty or anything mystery. And I think it's a good one to read over a weekend when you have nothing to do. And yeah, it can be found on Amazon.com. You can either search the title, The Wild Rose Alliance, or if that doesn't come up, just search my name as spelled below my face here, Ariel Sarullo, and it should come up. It's available as a Kindle ebook, also as a paperback version if you want a physical copy. And then if you have Kindle Unlimited, it's actually free to read. So, yeah, that is for now everything about my book.
Yay. We encourage all our listeners to read that book. It's really
Yes.
Absolutely.
excellent.
And
Yeah.
if you could also, if you read it, leave a review. That would be amazing. Doesn't have
Yes.
to be 100% positive, just honest would be great.
Yeah, and remember, whenever we have a guest on that we're interviewing, we'll have a little write-up on Two Crones and a Microphone website that'll
Yes.
tell you about
Yeah.
Ariel and also give you that same information in writing so that you can access that and know how to get her book or, if she has a website, how you get a hold of her.
Yeah, sounds great. Yeah.
That's great. Thanks, Sally. All right. Well, it's time for us to close out on this particular podcast. We're so glad that you joined us. We're glad that you took the time to listen in and find out a few more things that possibly you didn't know about the animation industry and life in Japan. And we want to thank you for continuing to listen to Two Crones and a Microphone. We're grateful that you're here, and we depend on you, our community, to help keep us going and also to reflect back to us what it is that's working. And
Yeah, and please
until the
remember
next,
we are also on YouTube,
thank you.
and when you go on YouTube, subscribe, and that way you'll be notified, when our next, YouTube drops so that you have that, and you can subscribe to us, through our Facebook page and through our, website. And that helps us keep going also. Those few dollars a month are more important than you think they are. So that's a big help. Thank you to all those who have subscribed to us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Betty. We sure do. All right. Until the next time, go find your glimmer.
Sally? Uh, and don't forget, we're here to help you navigate the very, very muddy waters of our time.
Ariel, one last anything you want to say in terms of saying
Thank you so
farewell?
much, everyone, for watching.
Yay.
Remember always to walk in beauty and Kadishte. Thank you.
Bye-bye
Thanks.
now.
Till the next time.
Hi, if you're enjoying Two Crones and a Microphone, please like this video and hit the subscribe button. Enjoy timeless wisdom from modern times, all served up by women in the know.